Good morning. So I'm Jack Grant. I'm the chair of the Energy Institute Young Professionals Network for 2020-2021, and I am currently studying geography at the University of East Anglia. And as part of my degree last year, I carried out a year in industry at EDF Energy, which heightened my interest in the energy world, and as a result I became chair of the Energy Institute this year, which is a brilliant role and a brilliant community to join, and hopefully I'll get a chance to speak a bit more about it right now. But yeah, I just allow Angus to introduce himself too.
Yeah. Hi everyone, Angus Binion. I'm the vice chair of the Energy Institute. So I'm also studying at the University of East Anglia, but unlike Jack, I'm studying energy engineering. But like Jack, I took a year in industry, but working with Vattenfall. And yeah, likewise, I'm planning to continue working in energy industry. And I've been part of the Energy Institute's Young Professional Network for about 3 years now. And that's about how long it's been running. So Jack, let's get to the questions. So could you tell me what is actually the YPN?
So the Energy Institute YPN is, firstly, the letters itself simply stand for Energy Institute Young Professional Network, and this and part of the Energy Institute that Angus and I are talking about today is specifically focused on the East Anglia and Essex branch of the Institute. But a little bit more about the Energy Institute. The Energy Institute is a leading professional membership body which brings global energy expertise together to help tackle urgent energy challenges, which are more, I guess you could say, more urgent than ever with the target of net zero 2050. And the Energy Institute allows you to connect to a thriving global community, and it unlocks access to a broad range of benefits, which in turn support your career development massively and help expand your knowledge within the energy sector. And being part of the YPN has massive benefits to your career development and your personal development. It allows you to meet like-minded young energy professionals, or like-minded young people who are driven to get a career in energy, and it allows you to gain support and with your applications to certain parts of the energy sector, and it allows you to, as I've already said, expand your knowledge and your current network, which are two invaluable parts of the network. Maybe you could say a bit more, Angus.
Just to build on that, some of the points you've said, I've met a lot of people in the industry through being part of the YPN. And as Jack said, so it's split into regions. We're actually representing Essex and East Anglia, but there's sort of 9 regions across the country and a couple more sort of internationally. And we've sort of collaborated and met with some of these other regions, so sort of London and home counties. So you don't only meet people in sort of the area, but it gives you the opportunity to sort of meet people nationally and even internationally at some points as well.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think just to expand on that, why don't we talk a bit more about what type of thing you could do within the YPN. So do you want to start with that, Angus, and I'll try and jump in where possible?
So the YPN sort of holds events, both educational and social events. So the educational events will include sort of, at the moment, sadly, just webinars, but it can be sort of in-person talks, panel discussions, even sort of workshops for your sort of career development, sort of CV writing, that kind of thing. Just from sort of the network of professionals, both young professionals and sort of older people who support the network. There's also some podcasts that the Energy Institute sort of generally produce, and there's a lot of career development and resources that being part of the YPN sort of allows you to access.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great opportunity to be involved in producing events that you may not get a chance to do ever again in your career, and it's a really good thing to get involved with as well, as it one looks very good for you, but it's also a very enjoyable process getting together an educational talk for people such as us, or people who have similar interests to you, or want to, or in fact inspiring people to get involved within this sector. So yeah, it's a brilliant institute to be a part of, and I think it's good if we sort of explain a bit more about how we got where we did today, and what our footsteps were for getting there. And I'll allow you to start, Angus, and I'll sort of jump in after you and give my say on my personal career development.
Yeah. So I guess like all things when you're talking career development, we sort of have to rewind to secondary school, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so GCSE wise, I sort of took obviously all the science and sort of mandatory subjects, but then I think I took German. Sadly, I don't actually do that anymore, but doing a bit of German, learning to fail and sort of keep going, never really hurt anyone. I think I did German, drama, geography, PE, and yeah. But from that I took forward into my A levels. I did maths, physics, and product design, so sort of design technology. I also took chemistry as my AS level. I sort of always took those subjects because I quite liked sort of the hands-on practical side of things with sort of design technology, but I also liked the sort of physics and maths understanding of why things work that way. I always sort of knew from those subjects that sort of led a more sort of STEM or engineering path. Originally, I thought I wanted to maybe go into banking. I did a week's work experience in banking and realised it probably wasn't for me. And then I did a week's work experience at the BMW mini plant, which sort of that really sort of got my interest in engineering going a bit more. And it was only sort of during my year out between school and A levels school and university that I sort of really decided that I wanted to go into sort of energy engineering and be able to sort of tackle obviously climate change a bit more head on.
That's great. Did you do anything extracurricular or join any societies at uni and that elevated this? Or
so whilst so at uni I got involved with the Energy Institute Young Professional Network. It's not directly linked with the university, but there's a lot of the students are also a lot of the committee members. Just so happens because I think some of them actually set it up originally. Also just play a bit of sport, a bit of rugby and a bit of football, which I think is always good to sort of learn a bit more about how to work as part of a team. I know everyone says so, but being able to sort of communicate properly with your teammates sort of does lead to being able to communicate properly with people in sort of the world of work as well. I think you could probably agree.
yeah.
How about you? What sort of path did you take?
Yeah, so I'd say my path was a bit different to yours. I mean, GCSEs are roughly the same. Instead of failing at doing German, I failed at Spanish, but you know, similar boundaries there. But your path, I'd say, is more STEM orientated, and you're more focused on the science, which is which led you to your path as an engineer, which is fantastic. But I think it's my path is quite different. I mean, for my GCSEs, I did take triple science, but my A levels were geography, maths, biology, and history. So a bit of a different path to take. And I mean, maths itself and geography bring in scientific elements alongside biology, but that's more human science. But themselves, it just sort of, to me, shows that you don't need necessarily a super strong STEM background to head straight into the energy sector. I think it's important to, say that you can still jump in this industry and get a good foothold into it by playing to your strengths. And that's sort of, I'd say that's a path I've taken through my A levels and degree choice of geography. And instead of going down the route of engineering, although I may wish I had done engineering in hindsight, but instead of going down that route, I focused more on, the different stages of the projects that I've been working on, different project planning methods, or a huge variety of things, which I'll probably get onto a bit more shortly. But that's the path I took, and I think what actually started my interest in energy was purely when I was looking for jobs, but for internships in my second year. And I'd say that the most interesting ones the ones I found myself most suitable for were actually in the energy market. And I happened to fall into a job at EDF, which was fantastic. And I'd say my work experience prior to that didn't really have too much involvement in energy, but since then I've started to focus more on energy. In my degree as well, I've started to aim my modules and focus like research projects on different parts of the energy world. So I think that's how I differ to Angus slightly here. But
I think as you said earlier, it's very important to highlight that all jobs in energy aren't solely the energy industry isn't run by engineers. Engineers are a very small part of a very complex system to get these projects and get these companies sort of working. I think actually in my office, I think there was about 6 engineers compared to about 100 people. So that just kind of shows the scale of how sort of diverse the roles are. And obviously you can take any pathway and go into the energy industry. So I think it's good to hear from you, Jack. I guess we kind of crossed the next question earlier, just sort of why did you choose your degree? And I guess we answered that it sort of fell that way, really. Based on A levels, but unless you have anything else to add, that's sort of how I found myself.
No, I found that my interest just aligned with geography most. I chose it at the time because, like any other, and I think this is good to say, I think like any other student just coming in out of sixth form, you're not sure what you want to do, but you're told to pursue what you enjoy. And at that time, I really enjoyed all different parts of geography, and I more enjoyed globalization topics at the time. But nowadays, not that I'm not interested in that anymore. It's just I've found through doing my degree what I really actually aspire to be involved with, and that is within energy. And I don't really think I had much weighting on why I chose my degree, apart from I enjoyed it and I found it interesting, and that is probably the same as about 90% of the UK.
Yeah, agreed. So
I think getting a bit more specific about degrees though. Because I mean, we did both choose our degrees, engineering, geography, respectively, but the specificities of it, why did you choose a degree of a year in industry, Angus, and what are the benefits of it to you, do you think?
So I actually originally wasn't on the year in industry degree pathway. I was just going to do the 3 years and then go into sort of the world of work that way. But through sort of researching and through speaking to people who have done a year in industry and had these opportunities, you just instantly learn how sort of beneficial it is to you. Everyone that's sort of gone through that pathway has either been offered a job or has had like a very good footing to get themselves a good job in the industry, even if it's a year in industry that people haven't enjoyed particularly. From people that I've spoken to, at least they know that they haven't enjoyed that, so they haven't then left university and gone into a job role they haven't enjoyed. But personally, I managed to fall into a job that I absolutely loved, and through that, it's just given me sort of the motivation that I want to pursue this career path. So I was working within the sort of electrical engineering team for Vattenfall. So we're working on sort of developing offshore wind farm projects, looking into sort of new innovative technologies. And yeah, I just found myself in a role being given responsibilities and sort of in a position that I never thought I would be as a year in industry student. And you learn a lot of skills. You learn how to keep time management. You learn how to write reports well and quickly, because you end up having lots of deadlines and a lot of projects to juggle. You learn how to work properly in a team, really. These are all skills that you start to learn at university, but I think until you're sort of in that office situation, you don't really sort of get the emphasis on how not difficult they are to learn, but how different it is in the world of work compared to sort of the university workspace.
Yeah, no,
Like you?
yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I signed up to my course based on the year in industry premise, but I didn't think it was going to be something I would achieve. You know, I found myself facing confusion about what I even wanted to apply for. So I think that's why it's good to come to events like these today, and kudos to everyone who has signed up and turned up to this. And it's important to sort of understand what jobs really are out there and what different parts of industry are out there as well. And I think that's something that I was helped with, thankfully for UEA, something that they helped with a lot, and they provided different talks and different people would come in and talk about different opportunities. I thought that was brilliant. And yeah, I'd say more specifically about my year in industry, I was fortunate enough to get a role with EDF but differently to Angus, I worked more in my role was finance and economic regulation, but really I focused more on project development. And I focused mainly a lot of my time on Sizewell C, which is a big project on the Suffolk coast, and big nuclear project on the Suffolk coast. And I really enjoyed every moment I had there. And again, I felt like I was treated more like a graduate there rather than an intern. And I think, like Angus said, even if I've spoken to people who haven't really enjoyed their own industry, but they've taken so many benefits from the challenges and their successes they had in that role. And I think I was very, very lucky to get such a brilliant internship from my own industry, and that every challenge I had, I had someone to talk to, and every success I had, I could build on it and still learn from where I went right, where I went wrong. And I think it's beyond invaluable to do a year in industry. Get involved in whatever way you can. It is definitely something I recommend to absolutely anyone. So, and I think just off the back of that a bit, it's interesting. We both went into energy, and I think we have touched on it a bit. about specifically what attracted us to the engine industry. But I
Mhm.
don't know. Do you have anything more specific to say? Or I mean,
My sort of main motivation is just sort of the current world situation. To be honest, I just want to be able to work in a role that I enjoy, but is also sort of putting my sort of work life and work time to, um, I
it's good
guess,
use.
yeah, good good use, so to say. But yeah, trying to be able to sort of make a difference through my working life is sort of something that attracts me a lot. And obviously, it's such a changing industry. Is the second thing. It's so exciting. Unlike it's probably well, I'm in offshore wind, but obviously you're working in nuclear, but also just you are also working in wind and other aspects of energy generally. Year on year, you get massive changes and massive innovation that you don't see in any other sector. Uh,
Exactly.
so
And even
I find that very exciting to be a part of.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think year by year you get technological developments that you wouldn't see for decades in other industries, and but day by day, week by week, you see policy changes happening. I mean, right now we're in a time where we're waiting for government to announce certain things about different nuclear projects, different wind projects. What's the policy going to be for the next 15 to
Mhm.
20 years to help take us to net zero? Yeah, it's an fascinating industry to be involved with. As you know, things do change very quickly, and your work is based around what's being said in the news, and it's something quite exciting about that. I
Yeah,
think
yeah. Keeps you on
it's
your toes.
keeps you on your toes, and yeah, like Angus said, the work itself is very fulfilling because you're helping drive a sustainable future. That's really important. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sorry. Why don't you let's carry on.
So yeah, I guess what challenges or successes have you sort of really experienced along the way? Um, I guess not
Uh,
necessarily just your year in the industry, but maybe at university as well.
yeah,
Um,
no, good question. I'd say the biggest challenge I've faced is just endless rejection from. Well, I started off not getting into my, I hate to say it, not into my first choice university,
mm,
which is turned out to be a massive blessing in disguise.
yeah.
But um, yeah, I had to go. I didn't quite meet my A level requirements and ended up having to go through clearing and landed on my feet somehow at University of East Anglia. So that's sort of one big challenge I faced, and then I sort of had to change my course, and that's something I decided very quickly I was going to do the year in industry course. But um, yeah, and I think another big challenge along the way is just applying for different roles and just facing the expected outcome of rejection every time. You start to lose motivation about getting involved in what you're actually interested in, and I found that really tough to sort of fight on through and continue to apply for jobs thinking maybe I'd never get one. But I dealt with that and went and spoke to different career central advisors at UEA, and I hope
Hmm.
everyone here has the opportunity to speak to someone within their school, college, university, etc., and get some career guidance on their CV. And I found that really helpful, and that's sort of what turned things around for me, I think. And that was one of my biggest successes, was how I dealt with those rejections, was going out and just finding as much feedback and help as I possibly could. Um, and yeah, in terms of a few more successes, I guess um, yeah, I'd say the success was just getting that year in industry. That meant a lot to me, and uh, that is probably the main success I've had. And then getting into that role and just jumping on every opportunity I could, jumping on um, anything that was offered to me, I'd jump on it straight away. And I think that's been my success, is being so proactive. And I'd say to anyone else, go out, whatever you do, just be really proactive, be
Hmm.
proactive as you can. Yeah. What about you, Angus?
Yeah, very, very, very similar. Sort of built on, what I found the biggest challenge was to be able to sort of get up when you've been knocked down or when you've been rejected, to put those extra hours in to try and find job roles and apply to sort of year in industry roles. I think I started in maybe October of the year, and I didn't get a contract until I think maybe June the next year. So although there was a lot of it that was sort of, oh, it's coming, but that was only since, I don't know, maybe March. So I spent a good sort of 5 months with that on the back of my mind, so always sort of that being the challenge. And like you said, I guess the success was beating that and being able to find a job role and land myself the year in industry. And then I guess my next biggest challenge was sort of starting the year in industry, because I'm doing energy engineering, but I was working as an electrical engineer. I maybe didn't have as much sort of electrical background as what was expected. I started the role, so the first sort of couple of weeks to month I found very challenging, just trying to sort of get up to speed and learn sort of everything I needed to know. But I guess the success from that was sort of at the end of my placement, I ended up working as sort of the electrical project engineer on a project myself. So I was then, so just that success of not really knowing anything to sort of being given that responsibility. I guess that was sort of the greatest success from my year.
Development leap.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of that development, what skills do you think you need to succeed in a career in the energy industry? And when did you learn these skills? What point did you realise these skills were so valuable? I mean, this could be any time in your industry itself or before that. I mean, whatever you...
Yeah, I guess as well. Not. I think working within the energy industry, because it's so complex, is you need to be very good at teamwork and sort of communicating. You're not working in a team of one. You're not even working in a team of 5. You're working on a project that's got, I don't know, hundreds of people contributing to it at different points. So your teamwork, communication, time management, you really need to get up to speed on them. And I guess communication was something that I was a bit sort of tepid with at first. I was a bit scared to send that email or give someone a phone call to ask them the question. So I'd end up waiting a few days to sort of get a result. But you just need to dive in. And I had to learn that very quickly to be able to realise that. But yeah.
No, I'd say those 2 skills, definitely, they are very important. And I don't think anyone quite appreciates how important it is and how desirable a skill it is to have really good communication skills, and to actually get across what you're saying. What you're trying to say is actually a lot harder than you think sometimes, especially with the overwhelming nerves of a meeting room on your shoulders. But it's something that you very quickly pick up, and everyone wants you to do well in your team, so they're all there to support you. You just got to remember those things. And I think having the confidence to speak up as well is really important. So communication skills, incredibly desirable. I'm trying to rack my brain of what else I'd say skills you need, but I think just a key interest in energy is something you need. And I think after that, you will just naturally develop yourself once you start realizing what is required, what you need to improve on yourself. So yeah, I think it's just important to maintain interest and be good at communicating. Get that in early.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a bit more on that. I think with off the back of skills, is I mean, advice is a loose term, but what advice would you give someone preparing for the world of work? I mean, you and I are no experts, but I think we
Yeah.
can try and point some direction on what advice we'd give.
I'd start by building upon the point that we made earlier, is just sort of persistence and communication, with trying to, one, apply for job roles, but two, also apply for experience. People may not want to sort of take on an intern for a month or a couple of weeks, or even do work experience for a week, but you never know. You could message someone and ask for a day's work experience or something along those lines, and at least that way you sort of get to see a bit about their job role, you get a bit of experience, and then you can sort of decide whether that's something you'd want. And you never know, once you've sort of made that sort of first breakthrough, it's really about making those breakthroughs, I'd say, for getting into the world of work. Once you break through sort of your first barrier, then you meet more people, you network more, and you can sort of break through into the next. But yeah, I guess just try and get as much experience as you can under your belt, and yeah, learn stuff, read up about industry, stay up to date.
Yeah,
Be sort of at the forefront of it all.
yeah, I agree. I think I echo your points, Angus. Really, I think don't give up when you're applying. Is something I'd say. I'd say just keep trying every single day. Pick yourself up. Just keep applying. Get as much advice and help as you can in your applications, and hopefully they start becoming more successful. And yeah, just expand your knowledge before you start applying. Really get that interest and develop that as much as you can. Build on everything you learn, and yeah, I think there's no limit to getting involved with something like this, and I think just give everything is my advice. Go to any event you can. Let's put it this way: it's not going to look bad. Just keep getting involved with everything you possibly can, and things should hopefully fall your way.
Agreed. So yeah, I think we've already touched on the question about why you'd recommend the energy industry. So I guess the final thing is, we're both obviously at university, but what are your plans sort of once you've graduated? What in your eyes, what are your next steps?
Yeah, very good question. I mean, I'm torn. I want to stay in energy, but I'm very interested in staying with EDF and carrying on my work with them on a great project, Sizewell C, amongst other things there. But equally, I quite like the idea of working in the energy industry as a consultant and sort of looking at it from that point of view, which is sort of down to the exposure you get on a year in industry when you work with a handful of different consultants on different projects. And yeah, you sort of get in. I was quite inspired by some of the work they were doing, and sort of thought, I want a slice of that pie. It looks pretty good. But yeah, I mean, ideally, bottom line is I really want to stay in energy, but focus a lot on sustainability. And going forward, the sustainability of projects, at all stages, the supply chain, how sustainability of supply chain, e.g., how were the elements which you need to physically build a wind turbine, or the uranium for a nuclear plant, how are they mined? Is it sustainable? Looking at everything in that part of the project, which is, and going forward, how to make buildings more sustainable, the construction more sustainable, just in terms of making everything more more suitable for a future carbon neutral world, one would hope. Yeah. Making that's my ideal goal post degree. Yeah.
Nice.
Likewise. Well, what about you?
So obviously I would want to stay in energy. I think I'm pretty sort of set on working in sort of offshore. I've just offshore wind farming. I loved sort of my year working in it. So ideally, I'd love to go and work for Vattenfall, but if not, just stay in the industry, potentially like you as a consultant. I think that's kind of a great thing to do whilst you're young, to be able to work on so many different diverse projects and not necessarily just be fixed.
Exactly.
Because we're obviously we've had a taste of it, but we still both don't know what our end career path is, and I think being a consultant gives you that option.
Exactly.
But yeah, stay in sort of the electrical engineering side of things. But yeah, probably hopefully for Vattenfall, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I think we should link back to the Energy Institute as a final word and just sort of describe a bit how you, hopefully listening in, can get involved with the Energy Institute and the YPN itself. And yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about that, Angus?
Yeah, so if you go onto sort of our virtual stand, the obviously Energy Institute Young Professionals Network, today, our sort of social media accounts are on there, and through that you'll be able to see. So if you just follow them, you'll be able to see any sort of future talks and events that we've got coming up. Hopefully, we've got one coming up in December. We're just sort of polishing that out now. But yeah, that's got it should be a very interesting talk. We've got some sort of great speakers lined up.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd add to that is, and if you want to be involved directly in the committee, I think committee positions are full this year now, but next year, get in touch, get involved, and I think it's a great, like we've said, it's a great network to join. It's a great way to expand your knowledge. It's a great way to meet people, and I couldn't recommend the Energy Institute enough to be a committee member of as well. So I think if you're interested next year, I think really make an effort to get involved, as again, it doesn't hurt to get involved, and it will look good, and you will have a great time, and you'll meet some great people. So I think that's my final words. Thanks for listening, everyone. And
one final word from me is, I think there's actually a chat function or sort of a questions or meeting function on the virtual stand thing as well. So if you got any burning questions that you want answered, or if you just want a general chat, want some advice, one of us should be there and you can help out. But thanks for listening.
Best of luck with everything.
Good luck, everyone. Have a nice day.
Enjoy your day.
Back.